Hi. Thank you for the kind introduction. What I'm going to do this afternoon is tell you a story. So sit back and get comfortable. And I'll tell you the story with the help of technology when it works. So I'm going to sit down because I think all good storytellers, like my parents and my grandparents, sat down when they told me a story, and it's important that I see the slides. I'm going to take you on a little journey this afternoon, but it's going to be a pictorial-based journey. Thankfully, given the hour that's upon us right now, it's going to be a brief journey. It's not going to be too long. But what I really want to do is not just tell you the history of the past 3 years of USDA's Certified Bio-Based Product Initiative, but really show you the history in the form of some of the market effects that it has brought about. So enjoy. And this is really starts, my history starts with my herstory in 2009 and 2010. I came over to USDA from the Environmental Protection Agency, and the BioPreferred program has a tremendous amount of history since 2002, when it was first written into the Farm Bill legislation. 2002 to 2009, that's history. I can't talk about that because I wasn't around, so I'm going to focus on this little historical session being from 2009 to present day, and since I'm telling it, it's a herstory, not history. And in these 2 years, when I first came to USDA, we really focused on the 3 R's. Not reduce, reuse, recycle. It was rulemaking, research, and revamp. I know a lot of you are familiar with USDA's BioPreferred program. You've heard it talked about today as one of the market-facing initiatives in our agency's kind of supply chain approach to grow and develop the bioeconomy. And what we were doing in 2009 to start the part of the BioPreferred program that had to do with product certification, it's actually bound by regulation. Even though we offer a voluntary product certification initiative, the background is in a regulatory process. So when I arrived at USDA in 2009, we were drafting that regulation. I had no understanding of the role or policy of regulations or how this works. So we were really focused on the rulemaking, the regulatory aspect to initiate voluntary product certification. And in conjunction with the rulemaking, our small team at BioPreferred and USDA, we were doing research. The rulemaking is a form of research because an agency will publish a proposed rule, and then they'll gather comments, and they'll analyze the comments, and then they'll publish a final rule, and that takes into account the agency's analysis of the comments. But as a good federal steward, we were also doing some parallel research on our own, on the side, to understand what is the meaning of bio-based, what is the meaning of a USDA-supported or backed label, how might our stakeholders, like everybody in this room, might anticipate and want to leverage an initiative like this begun by USDA. We were also doing some primary and secondary research about the label itself, which is really what I'm going to talk about today, the mark or the graphic. These things aren't just drummed up in front of somebody's computers by art directors. There's actually a fair amount of intelligence and market research and marketing research that goes into creating a certification mark, akin to the National Organic Program certification or something like Energy Star. And the third thing we were doing in 2010, I would call revamp. Again, this small team was getting ready to fundamentally change the BioPreferred program and offer a part of it that was completely different, that was designed to influence the consumer market and the B2B market as a complementary resource to our federal preferred procurement initiative. Mandatory, sorry. And so those 2 years led up to, we did all that, and those 2 years led up to a launch in February of 2011 when the agency officially identified or launched or initiated the USDA certified bio-based product label. And I had the great fortune of being able to do that with then Deputy Secretary Kathleen Merrigan. It was a cold day in Ohio. There were about 12 companies that joined with us that recognized early on the value of a certification mark or the role that a label could play in moving the bioeconomy forward with respect to increasing awareness, sales, and usage and loyalty, growing consumer loyalty about their products. So we knew a little bit about those companies, but we basically knew they wanted this. And this is just kind of a part of our USDA certified mark, the certification mark. And what we do is we validate the certification. We validate that their bio-based product has the tested amount of renewable materials in it, and then they actually earn the right to use this graphic or this label mark on their products or on their packaging. Now this is a sample, so the actual marks are specific to each certified product, and they say, they list either the product's bio-based content or the package's bio-based content, not both. The sample mark is just reflective of all of the options that the product, that the label looks like. So it was a good year, the initial year. You can see we launched the label in February of 2011, and through the balance of the year, that first year, with this small team learning all about these products, we certified a little more than 400 different products. We got out of the gate pretty swiftly, and it really we're starting to understand how to manage an intellectual asset like this that's owned by USDA. So how did we do that? We actually, with any new initiative, any new product, or any new service to get people to take action and adopt, it starts with education and awareness. And we did a lot of it. We went to conferences and did trainings and pursued media outreach. We had the resources to be able to do exhibit marketing. So we would go to the places where you are to talk about the value of obtaining, of working with USDA in this way and obtaining the label. The certification process is highly personal. Yeah, the companies interact with us on an online application. There's no paper that's being mailed. They're stepped through the application in a wizard, and the 3 or 4 organizations that are involved in certification share the data and they transfer it. But it's still at the root of being able to do this is it's creating relationships with people. And it's a very personal process in the form of determining the product's eligibility and helping companies, whether they're big companies or small companies, with the assistance for the application. A lot of team coordination, because you have someone like me who sits, whose role in the process is really to assist the companies and then help them maximize or leverage it. We've got other folks on our team whose role is much more chemistry-based in science and technology. So the way we were about to bring about, the way we brought about these successes the first year, here's the formula that is as unscientific as I can come up with. It was just at the bottom line showing stakeholders value by paying attention to the way we were interacting with them and really providing and demonstrating them value across the process. So here it is. As a result of that, ta-da! 1 year later, February 2012, we saw our first certified and labeled product in the marketplace. This consumer-based cleaning product appeared in stores a year after we initiated. It was a tremendous rush to be able to actually see something that we work on the policy side and the operations side actually make its debut in the market. And that's me. That's my thumb. That's in my local Whole Foods the day that we actually saw the product on the shelf. So this is how I characterize 2011 and 2012. Again, we initiated certification in February of 2011. Things moved along swiftly with the certification team. It was smooth sailing. We had teams in place, we had resources, we had the great benefit of learning all about these innovative products, understanding the green chemistries behind them, their role in sustainability. So it was going pretty well. And you can see in 2002, we certified just about the same amount of products as we did the initial year. About 400 products came through the certification process. And we were starting to see more traction. Big brands. Anybody know what this is? It's a nutrition bar called the Alt Bar. And it's a brand of General Mills. And they are using bioplastic. They're replacing their petroleum-based wrapper for this healthcare product. It's a personal energy bar, and they decided that their core consumer not only wants to eat a healthy product, but they respect and would actually look for a healthy product in healthy packaging. So we started to see these big brands, and we started to see them at retail. Anybody know what store this is? Can you tell from the surrounding POP? Come on, somebody's got to know this. Who? No? It's Target. Target. But one product on one bottom shelf of Target does not move the needle on education in America. But nonetheless, this is what we're really starting to see. And we were more incentivized to work harder and work smarter with all of you, stakeholders, to be able to articulate at the market level bio-based and what this means. And then the weather changed. In September of 2008, in September of 2012, the 2008 Farm Bill expired. And the Farm Bill is what provides USDA with the authority and the resources to run the BioPreferred program, including certification. And so it was a bit of a blow, I'll say. That's how I'll describe it. And you can see for 18 months from initial Farm Bill expiration until our program was again up and fully functional, it was a very difficult time, because we had been assisting stakeholders for the 2 previous years in certifying the products and helping them get them on shelves, helping them leverage their certification. There were other things that were going on at this time. At the end of the federal fiscal year, the Farm Bill expiration happening at the end of the federal fiscal year was very difficult. Operationally, at our program level, we were able to squeak by for a couple more months until our existing contracts, because we do utilize some contracts to help us implement the program. It can't just be done by Jeff Goodman, Ron Buchwald, and Kate Lewis. There's just too much work there. So they kind of lagged, and then throughout the period from June of 2013 to April 14, it was tough. Because we were trying to continue to have some level of assistance, but we really weren't in a place to do so. And that happens. And when that happens, strong teams get stronger. And so you can see the results in terms of output. The number of products we were able to certify at the end of the calendar year in 2013 was about a quarter of the number of products we certified in either of the first two years. But even with the storm, storms have ebbs and they have swells, and we saw some bright spots throughout 2013. This is a packaging material. This is the side of a cereal box that is manufactured by Cascadian Brands. Again, a real solid brand in the natural foods, kind of sustainable health food space. Not only had they pursued certification, I'm not sure if you can see it here. Maybe if you could turn down the lights just a little bit, it might make some of the graphics behind the slide template easier to see. Not only had they pursued certification, they devoted a fair amount of packaging real estate to not only applying the label on the packaging, which is huge for USDA because that's That's what we're really invested in terms of that's our tool, that's the symbol. But starting to tell their sustainability story. And Kathleen, not just to the millennials, these are 8, 9, 10-year-olds that are eating this cereal. And they're extremely health conscious parents. So you're starting to see, again, another company investing and voting by the certification and the packaging real estate in telling their sustainability story. So again, another product we saw in 2003. So on one hand, the operations of the program had really diminished, but we're starting to see some of the market effects throughout this time. So it was tremendously uplifting to still see that even though manufacturers and stakeholders realized we were operating at a diminished capacity, they still stuck with the promoting the aspect of Biobased and really made these resources or utilized these resources and made these commitments to do this. So this is an iconic product. You've probably all grown up with it. It's a Duraflame fire alarm. I actually took this picture again. My thumb is not in it. It's in my local Home Depot. I took this picture when we were on furlough in October of 2013. And so we were starting to see products in the market in these various retail channels. Grocery, home improvement, Home Depot, mass merchandiser, Target, and in the online space as well. So at this time, we were not only certifying these final or finished products that are industrial products and consumer products, we were also certifying intermediate materials. And in intermediate, many of you are familiar with these, but by 2013, we had realized, we had kind of done some analytics on our numbers and certifications and realized, wow, one of our top 3 categories of products we've certified are these intermediates. And what these are upstream materials that are sold to downstream companies that are then put in finished products. And an intermediate can be a biopolymer, it can be a renewable chemical, it can be a composite. Where you boundary an intermediate is, there's no hard science really to it. And so we started learning a lot about these intermediates, like bioplastics. And this is a Fredonia research stat from this June of 2014, and we realized, wow, Biobased is a real key player in these products and in the growth and of these industries as well, for things like bioplastics and things like renewable chemicals. These drop-in formulas that replace their petroleum counterparts that have been so popular since the end of the 19th century. The renewable chemical market is expected to be valued at $83 billion by 2018. That's from a Markets and Markets research from May of 2014. It's a Dallas-based research firm. And there's squarely a role for Biobased as an aspect or an ingredient, if not the aspect or driving ingredient in the increase in the value. So the team's learning all about these products and these sophisticated markets and dealing with huge global brands, chemical companies, but small brands too. And it's so interesting to us, and this is so serious, and all these different products. And then sometimes a product manufacturer comes along that wants to certify a product, and we just kind of scratch our heads. Again, not a particular product category that we're heavily invested in, but we want to be sure that the brand owners properly using the label mark, as this one certainly appears to be doing. So you can move the needle in many places, I guess. Yes. Okay, so let's talk recent history. Let's go back 4 months. 4 months ago, the Agricultural Act of 2014 was passed, and this was tremendous news for our little BioPreferred program at USDA. It basically provides us with 5 more years of guaranteed authority and funding to be able to do what we love to do. to be able to really reach out within the legislative branch and make sure that these federal agencies are meeting their mandatory purchase requirements, and to work with bio-based purchase requirements, and to work with manufacturers, large and small, brand owners, and the supply chains as a real distinctive sign or signal that the bioeconomy is growing. So in the reauthorization of the program, or with the reauthorization of the program, there will be some changes in the way BioPreferred gets implemented from this point out. Not huge changes, but changes. And my bosses, Ron and Jeff, are going to talk about the majority of those changes tomorrow morning. First session here, 8:15. And it's going to be they're going to talk, and you're not just going to listen. There's going to be an exchange that's going to be possible as well. I thought I focused on the biggest change for the labeling portion of BioPreferred, and it's this. We now have to consider some of the more traditional bio-based products as eligible for the certification and the label. And so these are wool products, rubber products, mostly wood-based products will be eligible for certification, but they'll have to demonstrate, their manufacturers will have to demonstrate innovation. So these more traditional bio-based products will be eligible as long as they can provide to USDA some guarantee that they've used an innovative approach in their growing, their harvesting, their sourcing, their procuring, their processing, or their manufacturing. So that's a big change for our small team to be able to kind of wrap our head around. But what we've done